Welcome to Focus on the Candidates. I'm Cynthia Pooler. My guest today is Adam Kraemer, and Adam is running for the New Jersey legislature. And he's here to talk about, his candidacy and his platform. So, Adam, what made you decide to run for the New Jersey legislature?
Well, New Jersey has been for the last quarter century a one-party governance. The legislature's been controlled by the Democrats for the entire 21st century. We've had the governor for 8 years in the 21st century, but most of the governorships have been Democrats. And the governments of New Jersey has not been great. Our taxes have risen. Our schools are not equitable and are very expensive to run. Our energy policy doesn't make sense, which is causing our electric bills to rise. There are issues of public safety, and things really need to change so we have a sustainable, prosperous, and free New Jersey for the next generation and for the generations to come.
So, when did you decide to run for office?
Well, I've been actually running for lots of other offices. I haven't won for about oh 15 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been living where I'm living, and I find myself in an area where I just don't think locally and at the state level that we are governed well. I think we're governed poorly, and that the government is making ill-advised policy decisions. And rather than just sit around and complain about it, um, and offer nothing, I've offered myself up as a candidate. Um, the reality is, because of where I live, my point of view is not necessarily in line with the local voters. I'm sort of a libertarian, and the area where I live tends to vote kind of progressive. So I offer my solutions and a voice contrary to what many of my fellow citizens and neighbors believe, but I think it's an important voice, and it needs to be raised, because I think it's a wiser and more appropriate public policy position that's going to work to ensure liberty and prosperity for the long run in our state.
Now you say that the government in New Jersey is run poorly. Can you give me some examples?
Well, there's a lot of examples. We have extremely high taxes, for one. Businesses are leaving. Um, Energy prices, particularly electricity, are going sky high. We've made policy decisions that put the electric grid not only in danger of being much more expensive, but actually in danger of failing. We have for years been a state that has a lot of local control, and now we've evolved to what I call micromanagement local control. We have over 600 school districts, over 550 municipalities, 20 plus counties, all that are very expensive to run and don't run freely of the state. The state basically tries to micromanage these local entities with lots and lots of rules and mandates. So it becomes very expensive, and you have only the illusion of local control, instead of true local control like we did 50, 60, 70 years ago. And the result is government has become really big, but not necessarily better. Equity has not improved. We still have communities that are extremely poor and communities that are really rich. Uh, Equity in terms of race has not improved. While 70 years ago you had African American and Hispanic neighborhoods, now you have entire towns that are basically one race or another. Our infrastructure is crumbling, our roads, businesses are leaving, housing prices are sky high, and families can't afford to buy homes here. So people are delaying marriage and childbearing. And it's just not a healthy way to live and for the future.
So, when you say businesses are leaving, where are they going?
They are going to states that don't have as much taxes and regulations. New Jersey has the highest corporate income tax in the United States of 12%. Florida has 5%. Texas has 3/4%. You don't have to be an economic genius to realize that if a successful corporation is going to have to pay 12% to do business in New Jersey and 3/4% of profits to do business in Texas, that they will consider Texas over New Jersey.
Mm. When you say housing is unaffordable, what's the average price of a house for a young
In
couple?
my district or in New
Yeah.
Jersey? In New
Both.
Jersey, in New Jersey, average houses are now exceeding 400,000. In my district, average houses are exceeding over 600,000, which is a lot when you look at the corresponding income. Household income in New Jersey is only about 80,000. So you have a family making 80,000 and a $400,000 plus house with a substantial property tax bill, because New Jersey has the most onerous property tax in the United States. People with normal incomes can't afford a house. And the rents also are sky high. So you can't even afford rent.
So how much, if you were looking to rent an apartment or a house in New Jersey,
In New
what's the
Jersey or the area in my specific
both,
27,
both?
if you're looking to rent a house in New Jersey, a 2 bedroom would probably go for a little more than 2,000. If you're looking in my district, it's probably closer to 3,000
A
more
month.
a month.
That's pretty a substantial amount.
Yeah, especially when you consider that, like for example, a renter. So a starting teacher in New Jersey is making in my district is making about 60. So if you're having to pay 3,000 a month rent, that's that's $36,000 of rent. The starting teacher's salary is 62,000. A starting junior accountant might make 70,000. $36,000 rent for a 2 bedroom, pretty tough. That's why families can't are in New Jersey are marrying older. That's why we're delaying having kids or not having kids any at all because they can't afford it.
Mm. So you've been running for your seat for how long?
Well, this particular seat assembly just once, but I did run for Senate in this district a few years ago,
Okay.
and I've run for other local offices, school board and county offices. So
Mm, So have you had favorable press?
yes and no.
Okay. Please explain.
Well, I've had newspapers endorse me. I've had newspapers point out I'm right sometimes, and that I make good points about fiscal issues. And then I have people in the media who consider me a pariah and think I'm going to, you know, make things unfair and unequitable, which couldn't be further from the truth. But that's sometimes how I'm played on social media.
Okay. Social media or the mainstream press?
The mainstream press doesn't defame me. They're more neutral.
Okay. But have you been getting a lot of coverage from the mainstream press?
Well, yes. I mean, I have been in the Wall Street Journal a couple of years ago. I was in the New York Times a couple of years ago. I've appeared in the New York Post previously.
Mhm.
I've been on local television. But the media here in New Jersey is interesting because I live in northern New Jersey and most of the media is New York City, and local media, local print papers are becoming a disappearing breed. So what you have is some online coverage uh, of newspapers, and they've been okay about covering me and giving me press and making my point. And in fairness, those owned media have been, reasonable about covering my issues for the most part. But when you go online and you read people's posts, they just accuse me of everything under the sun, in terms of being just this unequitable, unfair guy, which is just not true.
So when you campaign, what issues are you campaigning on?
Basically, good governance, fiscal responsibility, building good infrastructure, um, making sure that we don't have too much debt, um, using free market principles to allow, to correct our problems, as opposed to government to correct our problems.
Okay. So you've run for office before, and I think it's one of the toughest jobs ever.
Mhm.
Um, do you find that the case, or do you really enjoy campaigning?
Um, it is tough, but I enjoy it. It's tough trying to convince people, um, to reconsider positions. It's tough to get people to come out and support you because, so much of the populace is just busy living their everyday lives, going to work, taking care of their families, and they just don't want to be bothered on
Mhm.
political issues, particularly local political issues. But these issues really affect their lives in terms of what's affordable, in terms of having the infrastructure to get around easily, in terms of public safety and personal liberty.
What do you see as the most pressing issues in your state and in your district?
Well, the most pressing issue is, one, making it an affordable place to live. So people can stay here. Um, in my community, West Orange and Livingston, where I'm running, and Montclair and Roseland and Milburn/Short Hills and Clifton, you see all the time, as soon as people have their kids get out of, high school and college, the houses go up on the market because, um, in some of the communities, it ranges a bit, but in Milburn Short Hills, tax bills are in the mid 20,000, 25,000 is typical. West Orange, where I live, 16,000 is typical for a property tax bill.
My
It's a
God.
little higher in Montclair, a little less in Clifton, a little less in Roseland, but it's unusual in my district for people to pay less than 10,000 in property tax. Those are people who live in small starter homes in Roseland and West Orange and Clifton. Um, so if you're retired and you're living on a fixed pension and Social Security and you have a $16,000 tax bill, it's tough. So a lot of people leave. Uh, as and also it's tough when you have a $16,000 tax bill if you're a new homeowner and you're starting a family and you have a baby and you have a mortgage. It's difficult.
So, since you're running for the New
General
Jersey,
Assembly.
yes, um, what unique qualities will you bring to the table if you're elected?
Well, I never really go out and run high budget campaigns, and I never really go out and solicit special interest groups, so I can be neutral. Um, my opponents, the two Democratic ladies who are incumbent and I'm running against, are really nice people. At a personal level, I have nothing but good things to say about them. But I will say this: when you're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars and you're going to special interest groups, law firms, public employee unions, uh, trade unions, um, developers, and you're getting 1,000 here, 2,000 there, um, you know, it's hard to be neutral and not say when they call and say we need help for you to do this and this, they're going to help them instead of sitting back and saying what's the best solution for the long term good of New Jersey. And from my perspective, leadership is not just yesing people to death and saying, this is what you want and I'm going to do it. It's saying that can be done, but this is the consequences. This is the wise policy, and this is why it's the wise policy and why we need to be on board. And it's also tough explaining to people that sometimes the policies you institute may not show up instantly, but may be beneficial 5, 10, 15 years from now, because we live in a society where people want instant answers and instant gratification. That's not the way it works when you're making law and public policy.
So if somebody wants to support you, volunteer, donate money, how could they do so?
Well, I have a website at voteadamkraemer.com. That's VOTE Adam Kraemer dot KADAMKRAEMER.com. And there's my address there. They can mail a check to to Kraemer for assembly, and I'll take it if they wish to support me. But I have to tell all my supporters, I'll take your money and I'll use it to do things like buy lawn signs and buy more, palm cards. But I'm not going to be able to be bought. I'll appreciate and respect that you support me and say thank you, but it doesn't mean I can be bought. And the contributions that I've gotten historically have been pretty small.
Okay. So you have been listening to Adam Kraemer. What district are you running in?
It's the 27th legislative districts. It's in Passaic and Essex County. It's the municipality of Clifton in Passaic County. In Essex County, it's Montclair, West Orange, Roseland, Livingston, and Milburn, which includes Short Hills.
And I'm Cynthia Pooler. This is Focus on the Candidates. If you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Adam, thank you so much.
Much appreciated, Cynthia.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. You have a wonderful day.
You too.